who are sitting in the room, you can just go outside and take your tea and coffee. जितने भी डेलीगेट्स इस वक्त इस हॉल में प्रेजेंट हैं उन सभी को मैं बताना चाहूँगी कि आप बाहर जाके टी और कॉफ़ी ले सकते हैं। धन्यवाद। Going to begin. मैं आप सभी को बताना चाहूँगी कि हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री किसी भी पल हमारे साथ मौजूद होंगे। Honorable Deputy Chief Minister will be here any moment with us. ASSOCHAM is one of the oldest apex chambers of India, which started its endeavor of value creation for Indian industry since 1920. Having in its fold for more than 80 national council, national and state chambers, trade associations, it serves more than 4.5 lakh direct and indirect members pan-India. ASSOCHAM, National Council and State Council cover the entire gamut of economic activities in India and so is known as the knowledge architect of corporate India. A very pleasant morning to respected chief guest, honorable guest of honor, and all the dignitaries present here. On behalf of ASSOCHAM, I, Swati Chandra, your host for this event, would like to welcome you all to Uttar Pradesh MSME Sammelan, transforming MSME competitiveness. It's a wonderful feeling witnessing one of the finest brains with brilliant ideas. A lot of people think about ideas. A lot of people mark complaints, but very few stand out and initiate the initiative to bring out the revolution, contributing in society with their efforts. Today, we all are gathered here in MSME Sammelan to discuss the key factor to support and to enhance the MSME initiatives in Uttar Pradesh. The micro, small and medium enterprises MSME sector has been the key focus for policymakers from the central government and the state governments, as it is very important for overall economic growth and development in terms of employment, value chain creation, foreign exchange earning, support to large industries, promotion of regional balance and inclusive development, etc. Uttar Pradesh has been a whopping 90 lakh MSME base, which is the highest in country, and the state contributes around 14% of share of India's total MSME count of 6.33 crores. MSME industries constitute an important segment of the Uttar Pradesh economy in terms of employment generation and as a source of foreign exchange earning through exports. The MSME sector accounts almost 60% of the total industrial output in Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh MSME Sammelan is expected to have a wide range of participation from India and around the world. The Sammelan will have a representative from central government, state government, PSUs, state bodies, Export Promotion Council, Development Institution, Financial Institution, industry experts, etc. Here in today's get together, we all will discuss on a few points such as roadmap for growth and development of MSMEs in this state, strategy to promote one district, one product in this state, partnership and investment opportunities in the state, policy awareness, central and state government, strategy of state to promote local to go global, integration of MSMEs into the global value chain, quality readiness and strategy of the state, infrastructure development and readiness, cost of doing business, cost of finance, infrastructure cost, raw material cost, digital transformation of MSMEs, market access strategies and opportunities, financing opportunities and innovative financial solution for MSMEs, skill development and entrepreneurship. So these are the few points that we all will discuss in today's MSME Sammelan. जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि अच्छा स्वास्थ्य किसी भी देश की स्वास्थ्य अर्थव्यवस्था की तरफ एक पहला कदम है। इसी को ध्यान में रखते हुए ASSOCHAM, रैकेट एंड जागरण डायरिया नेट जीरो प्रोग्राम लॉन्च करने जा रहा है, जो प्रोग्राम हमारे माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री के द्वारा आज होगा। मैं आप सभी को बताना चाहूँगी कि ये सम्मेलन 2 दिन का है और भारत और विदेश से 100 से भी ज़्यादा स्पीकर्स पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं। 2 दिन के अंदर 1000 से ज़्यादा इंडस्ट्री डेलीगेट्स इस सम्मेलन में भाग लेंगे। आपको बताना चाहूँगी यहाँ 15 से भी ज़्यादा सेशंस हो रहे हैं, जिसमें हम उत्तर प्रदेश में उद्योगों द्वारा निवेश की विभिन्न संभावनाओं पे चर्चा करेंगे। ये बहुत ही हर्ष का विषय है कि हमें उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार द्वारा और उनके विभिन्न विभागों द्वारा इस सम्मेलन को यथार्थ रूप देने में बहुत सहयोग मिला है और सभी महत्वपूर्ण विभागों से वरिष्ठ अधिकारीगण 2 दिन के इस महासम्मेलन में भाग ले रहे हैं। मैं आप सभी को बताना चाहूँगी कि हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री किसी भी पल हमारे साथ मौजूद होंगे। Honorable Deputy Chief Minister will be here any moment with us. As we were discussing, I would like to let you know more about how Uttar Pradesh is contributing in overall India. So would like to let you know Uttar Pradesh has a whopping 90 lakh MSME base, which is the highest in the country. And the state contributes around 14% share of India's total MSME count of around 6.33 crores. MSME industries constitute an important segment of the Uttar Pradesh economy in terms of employment generation and as a source of foreign exchange earning through exports. The MSME sector accounts for almost 60% of total industrial output in Uttar Pradesh. Would like to let you know more about this MSME Sammelan. Uttar Pradesh MSME Sammelan is expected to have a wide range of participation from India and around the world. The Sammelan will have the representative from central government, state government, PSUs, state bodies, Export Promotion Council, development institution, financial institution, industry experts. As today is the inaugural session, we shall be having our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister will be here any moment with us. आप सभी को मैं एक बार फिर से बताना चाहूँगी कि हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री किसी भी पल हमारे साथ मौजूद होंगे. As today we are going to launch the program, I would like to share certain facts about the program. World over, under 5 preventable deaths of kids due to diarrhea and pneumonia is a cause concern. Racket under Dettol diarrhea net zero commit to making Uttar Pradesh state diarrhea death free. This is the facts that I am sharing with you, the program that we'll be launching today. Racket under Dettol diarrhea net zero commit to making Uttar Pradesh state diarrhea death free. 2022 in 13 districts and scaling up the program to 75 districts supporting SDG 3517. Strengthening private sector, public sector and working with communities, MOMS, making this program focusing on Swachh Bharat, Swasth Bharat. Program will use tested strategy of WHO 7-point plan focusing on prevent, promote and treat strategy. This program will be launched by our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister. Would like to let you know that MSME sector has been the key force focus of policy maker from the central government and state government, as it is very important for overall economic growth and development in terms of employment, value chain creation, foreign exchange earning, support to large industries, promotion of regional balance and inclusive development. मैं एक बार फिर आप सभी को सूचित करना चाहूँगी कि हमारे मुख्य अतिथि, हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री किसी भी पल हमारे साथ मौजूद होंगे और ऑनरेबल डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर विल बी हियर एनी मोमेंट विद अस. I request you all to please be ready to welcome him as he's on the way and will be reaching here in few moments. मैं आप सभी को बताना चाहूँगी कि हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री किसी भी पल हमारे साथ मौजूद होंगे. Honorable Deputy Chief Minister will be here any moment. He'll be reaching here in 5 minutes. So I request to all the delegates to please be seated. As our Deputy Chief Minister will be here any moment, I request once again to all the delegates to please be seated. जिस पल का हम काफ़ी समय से इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं, कुछ ही पल में हमारे माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री हमारे बीच होंगे. मैं हमारी सारी डेलीगेट से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगी टू गेट सेटल डाउन, अपनी अपनी सीट पे बैठ जाएं. कुछ ही पलों में हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री हमारे साथ हमारे इनॉग्रल सेशन में शामिल होंगे. Honorable Deputy Chief Minister will be here in a few minutes. So I request you all to please be ready to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest here today in MSME Sammelan. As we are announcing the arrival of our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Uttar Pradesh, माननीय श्री ब्रजेश पाठक जी, मैं आप सभी से निवेदन करूंगी कि तालियों के साथ हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार माननीय श्री ब्रजेश पाठक जी का स्वागत करें। बहुत बहुत स्वागत, बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन। Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to our honorable guest today to Uttar Pradesh MSME Sammelan. बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन. As we are starting up the event, we would like to begin by taking blessings of Almighty as is our tradition in India. मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार श्री ब्रजेश पाठक जी कि वो आगे आए और दीप प्रज्वलन के साथ इस कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करें। I would like to request Mrs. Sushma Paul Berlia to please come forward. Would like to request Miss Praveena Rai. Would like to request Shri Kamlesh Gandhi. Would like to request Shri Rahul Shukla to please come forward. Would like to request Shri Rene Van Barkel. Would like to request Shri Anupam Mittal to please come forward. Would like to request Shri Ravi Bhatnagar to please come forward. And would like to request Shri Avinash Gupta to please come forward. जैसा कि हमारी परंपरा है कि किसी भी शुभ कार्य से पहले हम लैंप लाइटिंग के साथ शुरुआत करते हैं, तो आइए उसी परंपरा को निभाते हैं और ईश्वर के नाम के साथ शुरुआत करते हैं। सरस्वती माँ जो विद्या की देवी हैं, उनके प्रकाश से हमारा जीवन सदा प्रकाशमान रहे। छोटी सी प्रार्थना। Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for our honorable dignitaries seated on the dais. बहुत बहुत स्वागत, बहुत अभिनंदन. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move on with plant presentation to our esteemed dignitaries. अतिथि देवो भव एक और हमारी परंपरा है. मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगी Mrs. Sushma Paul Berlia to welcome Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Uttar Pradesh, Shri Brajesh Pathak जी. माननीय मंत्री जी का हम बहुत बहुत स्वागत करते हैं. Can we have a huge round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin. सबसे पहले मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगी Chairman ASSOCHAM National Council on Business Felicitation and Global Competitiveness and Chairman APJ Satya Group, Mrs. Sushma Paul Berlia, to kindly come forward to deliver welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause? Mrs. Sushma Paul Berlia, please. Welcome, ma'am.
माननीय श्री ब्रजेश पाठक जी, ऑनरेबल डेप्यूटी चीफ मिनिस्टर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश। मैं इंग्लिश में बोलूँगी क्योंकि इस वक्त हमारे पास विदेशों से भी कई जन हैं और ये एक बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि आज उत्तर प्रदेश में वी हैव बीन एबल टू हैव पीपल फ्रॉम ऑल प्लेसेस एंड पर्टिकुलरली इंटरनेशनली ऑल्सो अवेलेबल विद अस। सो Honorable Minister, all my fellow colleagues on the dais, Shri Praveena Rai ji, Kamlesh Gandhi ji, Rahul Shukla ji, Rene Van Berkel, Shri Ravi Bhatnagar ji, Shri Avinash Gupta ji, thank you for being part of this to all of us together. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you on behalf of ASSOCHAM for being with us today. It's a great honor and privilege for me to extend this welcome to the UP MSME Sammelan. I'm also deeply grateful, sir, Honorable Minister, for being with us today and sparing your very, very precious time. But your presence here is certainly very inspiring, motivating, and important for us to be able to take forward this agenda in the manner that it deserves and in the manner today that the central government as well as the state government is taking forward in different forums. I don't have to say that MSMEs are absolutely the backbone of the economy. It's a known fact. Today, they are the one instrument, not only India, but really across the world, that we have for generating employment, reducing poverty, improving literacy, standard of living, and reducing workforce migration by adopting e-commerce, technology, and skilling the workforce. At the larger level, it can contribute to the rapid regional development, enhance exports, and improve the quality of life for those employed in the sector. And truly it is the MSMEs which would help the country in becoming self-reliant, Atmanirbhar, the slogan that the Prime Minister had said before us, and the larger objective of becoming a USD 5 trillion economy. In India today, there are 63 million MSME units employing 11 crore people. This get together, this Sammelan, could not have come at a better time for the simple reason that we are meeting together like this, post-COVID physically, on a very, very important agenda. If we look at the world, even though during COVID, economies and nations tended to become very inward-looking, it's very clear that globalization is already beginning to move up and will become the most important mantra in the weeks, months, and years to come. Because at the end of the day, we'll see that a lot of countries, in fact, India has managed the pandemic far, far better than most countries in the world. And these countries today are fiscally very, very constrained. And they are looking for trade and investment in their economies. So this is the right time to capture this opportunity. And while the movement towards globalization and greater globalization is still sort of going forward, to strengthen ourselves in every way possible so that we can reach there. The second important opportunity that has arisen, if you ask, I'm sure we are all aware of it, is the disruption of supply chains. I mean, it's been not a good thing, it's been very unfortunate for many industries, especially MSMEs, and we have been suffering from higher prices as well in a lot of our inputs. But ultimately, it's a very good thing because at the end of the day, it's a great opportunity for MSMEs to integrate themselves now into the global supply chain. And this is the time where both in partnership with Indian companies, with international companies as part of integrating into the supply chain, or even on their own strength, that MSMEs can really make a difference in the world. As they say, small is beautiful. And many a times, it's not that we are saying that MSMEs don't need strength, they don't need schemes, they don't need support. Of course they do. And we are dwelling on many of those in the sectoral discussions that we are planning to have in the coming days, where we are focusing on quality, we are talking about IP, we are talking about improving innovation, and so many other areas. We have the brochure in front of us, so I will not go into detail into that. But we have covered financing, all the issues today that MSMEs are looking for to help support them to become more strengthened, and not only to be able to face global competition, but to go out globally and make their products available. Having said that, I would just like to say that ultimately, if you look at MSMEs in Uttar Pradesh particularly, Uttar Pradesh has been very, very supportive, and it has done and announced a whole number of schemes in this last few months in order to support MSMEs in tandem with the central government. Again, without going into details of those schemes, keeping the interest of time, and Honorable Minister will have to go soon, we are aware of most of those schemes. They are available on the government websites. We will be discussing about them throughout these 2 days when we are having these conferences. There are 10 thematic sessions. There will be special sessions on specific sectors, investment roundtable, B2B, B2G, along with buyer-seller meet. Also, we have international association support from the Europe-India Chamber of Commerce, Council of EU Chamber of Commerce in India, Indo-French Chamber of Commerce, Indo-African Chamber of Commerce, Japan External Trade Organization, UAE-India Business Council, ICCI, US India Importers Council, and the Indo-Japan Business Council, sir. And also the Export Council support from the agriculture and processed foods, leather exports, gem and jewelry, plastics, synthetic and rayon textiles, and the Apparel Export Promotion Council. Also, we have got domestic association support for this Sammelan, India Footwear Components Manufacturers Association, North India Textile Research Association, Western UP Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Agra Footwear Manufacture and Export, Eastern UP Chamber of Commerce, Eastern UP Exports Association, Cold Storage Association of Uttar Pradesh, Saibabad Industries Association, and the World Association for Small and Medium Enterprises. We thank all of you for being together with us along with our initiative with the government in being able to take the MSMEs to the path that it truly needs to. Uttar Pradesh has a whopping 90 lakh MSME base, highest in the country, contributing 14% of the total MSME share, and it is proudly placed second on the ease of doing business rankings under the Business Reforms Action Plan of the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. This is a remarkable jump of 10 positions in ease of doing business over the last 3 years and demonstrates the efforts put in by the UP government. There are so many other schemes that they have launched: industrial investment and employment promotion, food promotion, processing, and so many others. Of course, MSME has been suffering on account of the impact of COVID, but we have a very, very resilient industry, resilient people, and if the right and timely support can be provided in terms of infrastructure, finance, quality, improvement, and all those other areas which we'll be discussing today, it will make a huge difference. In fact, the government of Uttar Pradesh has a very interesting scheme which has been much appreciated, the Udyog Bandhu sir. We would like to acknowledge and appreciate that scheme which has been working on individual and policy issues of industry and has been very helpful. If that platform can be strengthened further, it can make a huge difference in the effort that we are making in this regard. I will not get into the specifics. I think those will be discussed at the individual sessions per se. I would only like to end with the point that the MSMEs, I started in between by saying that small is beautiful. And they have a lot of role they can play in innovation, in technology, in niche products, in being able to be agile in the marketplace, which is what it is needed. So they can have a place of their own. It's not only that they have to be integrated as part of the supply chain, and they can really add to the employment of the country. I would only like to end with one thought, and that is that let's start. As they say, चलना है चल पड़ो, चलना है चल पड़ो, निकल आएंगे रास्ते, आंधी किसी के नक्शे कदम देखती हैं. If you have to walk, start walking and don't bother about anything. The winds do not wait to see the footprints of anybody. You will make your own path. आरंभ करें तो जो आवश्यक हो. Let's start with doing what is necessary. आरंभ करें जो आवश्यक हो, उसके बाद जो संभव हो, और जल्द आपसे हो सकता है कि असंभव भी संभव हो. Start with what is necessary, go on to what is possible, and soon we may find we are doing the impossible. We look forward to clear-cut action plans at the end of these 2 days, where together with the UP government, we can support them and work with them hand in hand and with industry to be really able to take forward the agenda. Thank you once again, and Honorable Minister, once again, we thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As we move on, may I kindly request Co-Chairman ASSOCHAM CSR Council and Director External Affairs and Partnerships South Asia Reckitt with a huge round of applause, Shri Ravi Bhatnagar, to please come here and share his thoughts. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone. मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों माध्यम से अपनी बात रखूंगा, एंड आई विल नॉट जस्ट बी स्पीकिंग इन इंग्लिश. सबसे पहले मेरा बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आदरणीय ब्रजेश पाठक जी को, ऑनरेबल डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर स्टेट ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश. सर, आज का दिन बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है और ये दिन मुझे मेरा अर्लियर करियर डेज भी याद दिलाता है, जब फर्स्ट वाइब्रेंट गुजरात था और तब मैं गुजरात स्टेट के अंदर काम करता था. वैसे ही हॉल फुल था, लोग बाहर ऐसे ही वेट कर रहे थे, और ये मुझे वो भी याद दिलाता है मेरा लास्ट विजिट जब मैं डावोस में था अभी, और हम इंडिया पेविलियन के अंदर वहाँ पे इंडिया की बात रख रहे थे, और बहुत लोग ये भी बात कर रहे हैं कि बहुत हद तक इंडिया ने जो डावोस में इस बार दिया, ये बहुत बड़ी चीज़ थी. मैं यहाँ पे क्यों हूँ आपके समक्ष? इसके 2 कारण हैं. एक तो ये है कि मैं भी इंडस्ट्री को रिप्रेजेंट करता हूँ सर, और दूसरा ये है कि सीएसआर की बात करें तो इंडिया में सीएसआर भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. जब बहुत सारी एमएसएमई इंडस्ट्रीज हैं और ये सबमिट हो रहा है, तो सीएसआर भी कैसे अलग हो सकता है. इंडस्ट्री बहुत हद तक बेसिकली अपना जो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है वो स्टेट ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर लेके आ रही है, चाहे वो इन्वेस्टमेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ सोशल रिसोर्सेज हैं, कैपिटल है, कैपेक्स इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हैं. उसी के साथ में मुझे लगता है कि यहाँ बहुत सारे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं एमएसएमई इंडस्ट्री से भी, तो अगर साथ में मिलके जैसे कि बड़े कॉर्पोरेट्स एमएनसीज इन्वेस्ट करता है, और जैसे कि अभी आप दूसरी स्टेट्स में भी देखते हैं कि स्टेट्स का रैंकिंग क्या है इन्वेस्टमेंट्स का फॉर द पब्लिक गुडविल, फॉर डूइंग समथिंग गुड फॉर द स्टेट, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. State of Uttar Pradesh should also be getting more investments on the CSR. And on behalf of Reckitt, which is the makers of Dettol, we have a huge commitment in the state of Uttar Pradesh, ranging from Allahabad Kumbh to Nasik Kumbh to many other kumbhs which we did. Along with that, working for the Japanese encephalitis in the Gorakhpur and other belts, to now talking about taking the diarrhea program, elimination of diarrhea, which is diarrhea net zero to all the 75 districts across Uttar Pradesh, is one of the very humble beginnings. And I'm very sure with the support of the MSME industry here, we will be able to put more pathways put together, more investments, not just for the industry and trade, but also live our potential for the SDG 6, SDG 3, SDG 17, which is largely focusing on the partnerships. And आज का ये जो टाइम है ये पार्टनरशिप्स का है और कोई भी अकेला जो है वो कोई भी विक्ट्री नहीं ले सकता है. तो जितना बड़ा रोल यहाँ पे मीडिया बंधुओं का है, सरकार का है, सिविल सोसाइटी का है, इंडस्ट्री रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स का है, स्टूडेंट्स का है, यूथ का है, सबका अगर इक्वल भागीदारी अगर नहीं मैं बोलता तो एटलीस्ट इक्विटेबल भागीदारी तो होना चाहिए. तो आज ये बहुत अच्छी शुरुआत है. Sir, under your leadership, Mr. Brajesh Pathak ji, I'm very sure we will be bringing more investments to the state of Uttar Pradesh for the civil society, as well as two major things we will be focusing on. What happens to be working on the infant mortality rates, and second happens to be the women mortality rate and the morbidity rates. हम चाहते हैं जब अगली बार यूएन के अंदर भारत को जब बात हो, भारत के बारे में जब बात हो, जब हमारे यूएन रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स जैसे यहाँ पे भी मंच पे भी विराजित हैं, जो वो भारत के लिए बाहर बात करें तो उत्तर प्रदेश की बात बहुत गर्व से कर सकें. तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इंडस्ट्री के साथ में इन्वेस्टमेंट्स लाने के साथ में कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के लिए भी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स लाएं. और मुझे बहुत बड़ी खुशी है इस बात की कि अभी हम लोग स्वच्छ भारत मिशन से में भी हमने काम किया है यहाँ पे विद ASSOCHAM के साथ में. फिर उसके बाद में हमने कुंभ में, इलाहाबाद कुंभ में भी काम किया और अब फ्यूचर में हम 13 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर फर्दर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स लेके आ रहे हैं, जो कि हमारी कमिटमेंट्स हैं. ये जस्ट एक छोटी सी शुरुआत है और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है सर आपकी लीडरशिप में हम लोग और इन्वेस्टमेंट स्टेट ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश में लेके आएंगे. और बहुत सारा यूथ है यहाँ पे, बहुत सारे सीनियर लोग हैं, सीजन प्रोफेशनल्स भी हैं यहाँ पे, बहुत सारे मीडिया कर्मी भी हैं. इंडिया की जो स्टोरी है ये हम बात कर रहे हैं भारत एट 100 की बात. तो अगर पॉजिटिव सेंटीमेंट और पॉजिटिव टेस्टिमोनियल्स इंडिया से बाहर जाएंगे, उत्तर प्रदेश से बाहर जाएंगे, तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारे जो कॉरिडोर्स है, बिजनेस कॉरिडोर्स, वो और स्ट्रेंथन होंगे, उत्तर प्रदेश में और निवेश होगा. हर कोई आदमी ये बात बोलता है कि आपके यहाँ पे जो डेवलपमेंट है वो बहुत स्क्यूड जैसी दिखती है. स्क्यूड होता है मतलब एक तरफ झुकी हुई. अगर आपके बच्चों के ऊपर, बच्चों की हेल्थ के ऊपर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, वुमेन की हेल्थ पे इन्वेस्टमेंट्स अगर स्ट्रॉन्ग दिखेंगी और उसके रिजल्ट्स आएंगे तो और ज्यादा बिजनेस का बाहर के कंट्रीज के अंदर, इंटरनेशनल चैम्बर्स का, ब्रिक्स कंट्रीज का इन्वेस्टमेंट्स और आने का पोटेंशियल है. इसी के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूं और सर बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. मैं बहुत परिचित हूं आपके सारे जनता दरबार के बारे में. भीड़ लगी रहती है, बहुत लंबा वेटिंग रहता है. हम सब लोग का सौभाग्य है सर आपको यहाँ पे देखने का और आपका सुनने का भी हम लोग को मौका मिलेगा. इसी के साथ धन्यवाद. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, sir. As our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister have some events to attend, so there is a slight change in the overall program. So today ASSOCHAM, Racket and Jagran are going to launch the program on diarrhea net zero in the 13th district of Uttar Pradesh, which will cover 21% of the state population, and during the next 3 years the program will impact directly more than 10 million people across Uttar Pradesh. I would like to share certain facts about the program. World over 105 preventable death of kids due to diarrhea and pneumonia is a cause of concern. Racket under Dettol Diarrhea Net Zero commit to making Uttar Pradesh state diarrhea death free 2022 in 13 districts and scaling up the program to 75 districts supporting SDG 3517, strengthening private sector, public sector and working with communities, MOMS, making this program focusing on Swachh Bharat, Swasth Bharat. Program will use a tested strategy of WHO point plan focusing to prevent, promote and treat strategy. मैं निवेदन करूंगी माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री श्री ब्रिजेश पाठक जी से कि इस महत्वपूर्ण प्रोग्राम को बटन दबाकर लॉन्च करें. And I would also like to request all the dignitaries to please come forward on this stage and launch this program. Would like to request Shri Anupam Mittal ji to please come forward on the stage, and here we are going to launch our program. Can we have a huge round of applause as we have launched our Daria Let's Do program today. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time that I take the opportunity to invite our honorable chief guest. मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगी माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार श्री ब्रिजेश पाठक जी से कि वो आए और अपने विचार हमारे साथ बांटे. एक जोरदार तालियां. बहुत बहुत स्वागत है.
उत्तर प्रदेश MSME सम्मेलन के भव्य एवं गरिमामय समारोह में हमारे साथ मंच पर उपस्थित हैं बहन सुषमा पॉल जी, मिस प्रवीणा राय जी, आदरणीय कमलेश गांधी जी, आदरणीय राहुल शुक्ला जी, आदरणीय रेने वान जी, आदरणीय रवि भटनागर जी, आदरणीय अविनाश गुप्ता जी, देश के विभिन्न हिस्सों से तथा अन्य राष्ट्रों से आए हमारे प्रतिनिधिगण, पत्रकार मित्रों और इस व्यवस्था से जुड़े साथियों, सबसे पहले उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार की तरफ से राजधानी लखनऊ में आप सभी का हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं, क्योंकि इस कार्यक्रम के लिए एसोचैम ने लखनऊ को चुना. साथियों, हम सब जानते हैं कि भारत बहुत तेजी के साथ दुनिया के पैमाने पर हर क्षेत्र में आगे बढ़ रहा है. आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने वर्ष 2014 से जब देश की कमान संभाली तो दुनिया में इस बात की चर्चा हो रही है कि भारत हर स्थिति में, हर क्षेत्र में तेजी के साथ प्रगति कर रहा है। चाहे MSME का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे चिकित्सा का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे सेना का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर हो या अन्य विभिन्न सेक्टर, चाहे एजुकेशनल व्यवस्था हो, हर क्षेत्र में हम तेजी के साथ काम कर रहे हैं। लेकिन किसी भी देश की प्रगति में नौजवानों को सीधे जोड़ने के लिए, बेरोजगारी दूर करने के लिए और लोगों को सस्ते मूल्य पर उत्पाद उपलब्ध कराने के लिए MSMEs की बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। बड़े बड़े उद्योगों के साथ हम वस्तुओं की सप्लाई तो कर पाएंगे, दुनिया के किसी से बाजार से लाकर के हम सप्लाई कर पाएंगे, लेकिन लोगों को सीधे रोजगार उपलब्ध कराना हमारे लिए बड़ी चुनौती बनकर खड़ा हो जाएगा। हमारा मानना है कि MSMEs इस मामले में बहुत बेहतरीन काम कर रहे हैं। जहां तक उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य का सवाल है, 2017 से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेतृत्व में आदरणीय योगी जी की सरकार बनी, तब से लेकर आज तक हम 2022 में बैठे हैं, दोबारा चुनाव हो चुका है। उत्तर प्रदेश की 25 करोड़ जनता ने हमें अपना दोबारा आशीर्वाद दिया है। हमारे सामने 2017 में सबसे बड़ी चुनौती उत्तर प्रदेश में कानून व्यवस्था को लेकर के थी। साथ ही साथ उद्योगों के बारे में जो उद्योगपतियों की राय थी, जो इन्वेस्टर्स की राय थी, वो उत्तर प्रदेश से सहमत नहीं होते थे। यहाँ उनको इन्वेस्टमेंट अच्छे नहीं लगते थे, उनको लगता था हम यहाँ सुरक्षित नहीं है, हमें कर्मचारी अच्छे नहीं मिल पाएंगे, स्किल्ड लेबर नहीं मिल पाएगी, लाइन ऑर्डर अच्छा नहीं होगा, हमारी पूंजी सुरक्षित नहीं होगी, हमारे कर्मचारी सुरक्षित नहीं होंगे, हमारे स्टाफ और उनके बच्चे कैसे रहेंगे। तरह तरह की बातें उनके मन में चर्चा में आती थी। 2017 के साथ बाद से आज तक मैं कह सकता हूं कि उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य में जितने भी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड क्रिमिनल गिरोह थे, उनको पूरी तरह से हमने समाप्त किया। जो छुटपुट वैमनस्यता के कारण घटनाएं घटी हैं, उनमें हमने अपना पराया नहीं देखा, छोटा बड़ा नहीं देखा, गरीब अमीर नहीं देखा। जिसने भी कानून तोड़ा उसके खिलाफ हमने कड़ी कार्रवाई की है और ऐसी कार्रवाई की है कि दोबारा वो जीवन में कभी कानून तोड़ने की हिम्मत नहीं कर सकता है। उत्तर प्रदेश में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मेंटेन करने के बाद एक माहौल बना उद्योगपतियों के मन में कि उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य में इन्वेस्टमेंट किया जाए, और इन्वेस्टमेंट इसलिए किया जाए कि उत्तर प्रदेश 1/5 हिंदुस्तान है। आप 25 करोड़ लोगों के साथ बैठे हैं। अगर उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य में अपने व्यापार को शुरू करते हैं, अपने उद्योग को शुरू करते हैं, दुनिया के कई देशों को मिलाकर इतना बड़ा मार्केट जल्दी उपलब्ध होने वाला नहीं है। और यहाँ की बौद्धिक क्षमता, यहाँ के लोगों का कार्यबल, पूरी दुनिया इस बात का लोहा मानती है कि उत्तर प्रदेश में जो बौद्धिक क्षमता है, उत्तर प्रदेश में जो लोगों की कार्य करने की क्षमता है, किसी अन्य राज्यों में या अन्य दुनिया के अन्य हिस्सों में नहीं। आप दुनिया के किसी हिस्से में जाएंगे, किसी भी जो राष्ट्राध्यक्ष उसकी सेक्रेटरीट को तलाशेंगे तो कहीं न कहीं आपको पर्दे के पीछे उत्तर प्रदेश के निवासी का दिमाग आपको मिल जाएगा। आप तलाशिए उत्तर प्रदेश के लोगों के बारे में। दूसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं, भारत के किसी राज्य में आप जाएंगे, भले ही साउथ में आप जाएं, पंजाब से हमारे भटनागर साहब बैठे हैं, किसी भी स्टेट की जो GDP है, किसी भी स्टेट की जो निर्माण की व्यवस्था है, उत्तर प्रदेश के निवासी हर व्यवस्था से जुड़े हैं। हमारे इंजीनियर्स मिलेंगे आपको, हमारे आर्किटेक्ट्स मिल जाएंगे, हमारी लेबर मिल जाएगी। पंजाब में आज भी कटाई होती तो यूपी से ट्रेन फुल जाती है कटाई करने के लिए। मुंबई में बड़ी बड़ी जो इमारतें बनती हैं, आप पूछोगे कहां से आए हो तो यही लोग कहेंगे यूपी के हमारे मित्र लोग उस बिल्डिंग को बना रहे हैं। दिल्ली के अंदर जो भी निर्माण होता है तो भले ही दिल्ली का नाम होता है, लेकिन यूपी कहीं न कहीं शामिल है। यूपी के अंदर एक क्षमता है और इस क्षमता को डेवलप किया है भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने, आदरणीय मोदी जी ने। हम लोगों ने जब यूपी में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मेंटेन कर लिया तो हमारे सामने एक व्यवस्था थी कि हम अपने लोगों को आमंत्रित करें। हमने इन्वेस्टर समिट किया, आप सबको बुलाया, 4 लाख करोड़ से अधिक के पैकेज आए और उन्हें म्यूज साइन हुए। उसके बाद उनको कार्य रूप में परिणित किया। आदरणीय मोदी जी उसमें मुख्य अतिथि थे, पूरा देश देख रहा था। उसके बाद दोबारा ग्राउंड ब्रेकिंग सेरेमनी की। अभी जब हम लोगों ने दोबारा सरकार संभाली तो फिर आप सबको बुला करके एक बड़ा कार्यक्रम किया। उसमें 80 लाख करोड़ से अधिक पैकेज म्यूज साइन है, उनको कार्य रूप में बदलना है। दूसरी हमारे सामने सबसे बड़ी चुनौती क्या थी कि उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य में बिजनेस का माहौल नहीं है, कमर्शियल व्यवस्था नहीं है। ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में हमारा नंबर बहुत पीछे था, उसको आगे हम बढ़ाकर कैसे लाए। तो आपके जो मुकदमे होते हैं, सामान्यतः होता था कि ये मुकदमे सिविल डिस्प्यूट्स के ऊपर तब्दील हो जाते थे और उन सिविल कोर्ट्स में चलते थे जिन पर मुकदमों की लंबी फहरिस्त है। वहां जमीन का भी मुकदमा चल रहा है, वहीं कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड का मुकदमा चल रहा है, वहीं आर्बिट्रेशन के भी मुकदमे चल रहे हैं। तो हमारे सामने क्या चुनौती थी कि नए कोर्ट्स खोले। हम पिछली बार कानून मंत्रालय संभालते थे तो हमने 13 नए कमर्शियल कोर्ट खोलने का काम किया और उन कोर्ट्स में जो आपसी विवाद हैं उनको निपटाने का काम किया। और ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के लिए हमने सिंगल विंडो काउंटर सिस्टम शुरू किया। आपको 10 जगह परमिशन के लिए जाना नहीं पड़ेगा, बिजली के लिए, पानी के लिए, लोकल टैक्सेज के लिए, जमीन के लिए, आपको जीएसटी के लिए। तो एक अलग से हमने डिप्यूट किया व्यक्ति को कि हर उद्योगपति के साथ एक व्यक्ति लग करके उसके जो भी कागजी कार्रवाई पूरा करे। बैंकिंग फैसिलिटी भी देने का हमने काम किया है। हम आपके साथ कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलने के लिए तैयार हैं। आपने उत्तर प्रदेश में बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिया है और आपके जो कार्यशैली, आपके जो कार्य करने का ढंग है, आप लोगों को रोजगार तो देते ही हो लेकिन लोगों को जोड़ने का भी काम करते हो। जब एक MSME इकाई किसी जिले में काम करती है तो ये मान के चलिए उस जिले के नौजवानों की एक आशा का केंद्र बिंदु होती है और बड़ी संख्या में नौजवान वहां पर रोजगार पाते हैं। आप बगल का जिला उन्नाव देख लीजिए, वहां पर बड़ी संख्या में ट्रेनीज हैं और दसियों हजार लोग वहां रोजगार पाते हैं। एक दो हजार नहीं, एक ट्रेनी में 2 हजार, 3 हजार, 4 हजार लोग रोजगार पाते हैं और बड़ी संख्या में ट्रेनीज वहां काम कर रही हैं। वहां जूते का अपर बनता है, भले ही आगरा का नाम हो लेकिन जूते का अपर उन्नाव में भी बनता, पूरा जूता हम लोग बनाते हैं। ऐसे आगरा में आप चले जाओगे, लाखों की संख्या में हमारे नौजवान रोजगारवान हैं और वो रोजगार आपके लिए काम कर रहे हैं। आप सोचते होंगे कि उनको हम महीने की सैलरी या रोज की सैलरी दे रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं है। आप उनसे कहते हो 1000 अपर बना करके आप ले आओगे तो आपको एक अपर सिलने में इतना पैसा देंगे, यानी आपका हेडेक नहीं है, ठेके पर काम करते हैं, स्किल्ड लेबर है। तो उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य में आपने अच्छा काम किया है, इसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत आभार और शुभकामनाएं आपको देता हूं और आपको भरोसा दिलाना चाहता हूं उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार की तरफ से, अपनी तरफ से। आप सब उत्तर प्रदेश में तेजी के साथ आगे बढ़े, कदम से कदम मिलाकर हम आपके साथ खड़े हैं। कहीं भी कोई दिक्कत होगी हमारी पूरी सरकार आपके साथ उपस्थित मिलेगी। आपने उत्तर प्रदेश राज्य की राजधानी में इतनी बड़ी संख्या में उद्योग जगत से जुड़े प्रदेश के और देश के विभिन्न हिस्से से और राष्ट्र के अतिरिक्त अन्य राज्यों से भी लोगों को बुला करके इस कार्यक्रम को एसोचैम द्वारा किया है। मैं बहुत बहुत आभार प्रकट करता हूं। एसोचैम का मैं शुभकामनाएं देता हूं, उनका आभार प्रकट करता हूं, उनका अभिनंदन करता हूं कि उन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम के लिए लखनऊ को चुना, उत्तर प्रदेश को चुना। आपका ये कार्यक्रम सफल हो, मैं बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। आभार।
मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगी। आज आपने तमाम जानकारियाँ दी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप यहाँ पधारे, निश्चित इस सम्मेलन की शोभा बढ़ी है और आज जब हमारे जनप्रतिनिधि हमारे साथ रहते हैं तो एक अलग आत्मविश्वास हमारे अंदर आता है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अब मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगी श्री कमलेश गांधी जी को कि वो ASSOCHAM का मोमेंटो माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री जी को दें। और मैं चाहूंगी एक जोरदार तालियां हो जाए। अब मैं निवेदन करना चाहूंगी श्री रवि भटनागर जी से कि वो डायरिया नेट जीरो का मोमेंटो हमारे डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर को दें। एक जोरदार तालियां हो जाए। जैसे कि हम देख रहे हैं हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री जी प्रस्थान कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये सेशन जारी रहेगा। मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगी हमारे उप मुख्यमंत्री उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार श्री ब्रजेश पाठक जी का कि वो यहाँ पधारे और इस सम्मेलन की शोभा बढ़ाए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। Now I request all the delegates to be seated and settle down as we'll continue our session. As we move on, may I now request COO NCPI, Madam Ms. Praveena Rai, to please come forward and share her thoughts with us today. Welcome, ma'am. Can we have a huge round of applause for Madam Miss Praveena Rai? Welcome, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all the dignitaries here. I think we've had a very good start to the day, and I just wanted to introduce you to NPCI for those of you who may not be so involved with what's happening on digital payments. So NPCI is National Payments Corporation of India. So the organization has been set up under the aegis of IBA, the Indian Banks Association, and Reserve Bank of India about 11 years back to drive digital payments in India. So the organization is promoted by banks and also other non-bank payment participants. And the ecosystem consists of every bank in India. More than 1,090 banks are participants in various payment systems. And the number of non-bank players, what we call fintechs, is really increasing by the day. So we have digital payments across many products. Some of you may be users of UPI, Bheem, RuPay, which is India's own card network. Products like the National Clearing House, Aadhaar payments, and so on. So these so far have really been focused. These have been focused on the retail payments ecosystem in the country. And the retail payments ecosystem, and you can see the number there, last year was 88 billion transactions. And this number, the year before that, was about 60 billion. So phenomenal growth that is being seen in digital payments, of which NPCI contributes about 70%. So digital payments is really at the core of commerce, because any transaction in goods and services needs to be enabled through a payment interface. And that's really the role for NPCI. And what we really want to do further is to expand the space from only person-to-person payments or person-to-merchant payments into also the business-to-business payments, which is really where the entire MSME sector comes in. So how can digital payments power a transformation for the MSME sector and really create the next phase of growth or support the next phase of growth is really one of the key objectives here. So, of course, I don't have to explain about the Udyami portal. We work with the MSME ministry to have a card which is focused on MSME, a RuPay credit card focused on MSME, working with any MSME who's registered on the Udyami portal. The Udyami portal itself offers and supports a number of benefits which probably are not as well understood, and I'm sure everyone here will do their bit to propagate this knowledge further so that every MSME can benefit from the slew of incentives that the government has, the support that is available to all MSMEs here. But what I want to talk today is really on the power of digitization. And this is what we have seen. This is what we have seen in the course of the last 2 years. And certainly the pandemic situation has been a big trigger to powering digitization, both on the supply side and on the demand side. So at some point in time, there was no choice. So people organizations, small businesses adopted digital methods, and those changes, those behavioral changes have actually largely stayed. And most organizations who have done this well are seeing a phenomenal dividend, a phenomenal upside in the growth that they hence have. So if you look at some numbers here, more than 56% of MSMEs, of course this is a sample data from a research that has been referenced here. They've actually become digital when they were not so earlier on the supply side. And on the demand side, which is the sales, distribution and customers, the number is again about 27% plus. And this number is growing by the day. So what we are seeing is on the supply side, more suppliers, more options, more quality options are available on digital platforms. But very exciting for business is what this can do on the demand side. So opens up new geographies, opens up market segments that were not so accessible earlier. And there are many enabling factors. So for example, when we look at the logistics infrastructure in the country, so this has really again grown by leaps and bounds. It's available as a support to digital commerce. So there's a lot more logistics available on demand rather than wait for full shipments to move goods from point A to point B. A lot more smaller size of shipments, a lot more on-demand transportation is available now. All of which triggers access and reach to newer markets that did not exist before. Certainly the GSTN framework offers phenomenal power here. Digital payments is at the core because the more you're able to collect money or pay money digitally, the movement of goods, the entire cycle, what is called purchase to pay, order to cash. So you're able to place an order, receive goods and so on, and the whole supply chain can become digital. So this is not just about convenience, and it is not only about efficiency, it is actually a driver of business growth. And I should say that the mechanism for ONDC, which is coming up very soon and it has already been announced, is also going to be a very big factor, specifically for MSMEs. Because it will permit a level playing field. It will provide an opportunity for many businesses to connect and engage with customer segments that today probably are very focused on certain well-established digital platforms. So really what this does is, as digital footprint increases, it opens up the trust factor. It opens up the element of, or addresses the element of the fact that most MSMEs have access to credit only on a secured basis. So there needs to be some, asset, some land, some property, or something, some inventory that is securitized in order to have access to credit. But the more the digital footprint, the digital payment footprint, the digital transaction footprint increases, the entire trust factor will change. And this is already happening as we see it. And we're looking to really overall drive the incremental benefit for MSMEs. So I just wanted to table here like a simple 4-step process for MSMEs to digitize as part of this transformation journey. One is just to understand the lay of the land, understand the digital platforms that already exist, what's working, what are your customers looking for, what are your suppliers operating on, gives you a sense of how you want to plan your digital approach. The second step will really is always to start at home. So establishing and converting the current business into a digital model. It could be something as simple as ensuring that there's a small ERP, that invoices are digitally being issued, that the collections are through digital payments, and simple measures by which the existing business is converted into digital form. And this is where some of the new businesses, the startups, they have it easy because they can come in as disruptors. They can come in with completely new business models and take the full advantage that digitization offers today, because they have no background to change. Whereas all established MSMEs have so much change in the existing model itself. So that really needs to be at the core of this transformation. The number 3 will be to then look at what's next. How do you really look at these new markets, these new supply-demand environments digitally? So this is where the new technologies come into play. How can a product catalog be converted to a digital catalog? How can a payment gateway be established depending on the value of goods that are being sold? How can a process of ensuring that there is a cloud hosting model, and many of these services are today available on what is called SaaS, which is pay as you use. So it is low on capital investment and can be worked on an OPEX model so that the upfront is not very heavy, but what is needed is a very good understanding of how to take advantage and what are the few things that need to be done to move this forward. Where to promote? You can promote on digital platforms, participate in digital platforms who can distribute directly. So which part of this ecosystem that the MSME wants to play in? And ultimately, the change is from within, so educating oneself, educating employees, educating supply chain and all participants on both sides of the value chain through this journey will be very, very critical. So this is like a 4-step process which I think can really help MSMEs to transform and reimagine and rethink their business opportunity, business model, which can at a minimum, I would say, double the business. So this is what we really have here, from RuPay, we have a credit card product which is being focused more on the retail segment. RuPay has been well established in debit cards. We have about 35% market share there. It's now getting established on credit cards, but focusing now on MSME. And this is where, as part of the credit guarantee scheme, the limit that is provided on a credit card, the bank can really benefit by looking at these limits accordingly. So you know that in a credit card you get a 45-day interest-free period for various purchases. These would of course be business-related purchases, and the card is really issued to the business owner, and it has all the benefits associated with Udyami, and there are other benefits like accident protection, insurance, and some support in terms of the digitization journey as well. So we'll be happy to hear more, looking forward to engage with everybody here. I think this is a small step forward. Union Bank is the first partner who's already issuing this card to MSMEs. 10,000 cards have been issued so far. There are another 4 banks in the fray, including HDFC here. And then we will look forward to doing more with the MSME sector. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Now, as we move on, may I request Co-Chairman, ASSOCHAM, MSME Development Council and CMD, MAS Financial, Shri Kamlesh Gandhi, to please come forward and share his thoughts. Please welcome with a huge round of applause, Shri Kamlesh Gandhi here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Respected guests on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here at this MSME Uttar Pradesh Sammelan. And I think this is the right place to kickstart this journey of transforming MSMEs for better competitiveness, because of the fact that this state is home to more than 90 lakh MSMEs, which accounts to more than 14% of the total MSMEs in the country. So it's a perfect place to kickstart this agenda. Friends, when we talk about transforming MSME's competitiveness, in fact, we are talking about transforming the competitiveness of the whole country. And the very reason behind the same is that with the significance what we know in terms of number contributing 30% to GDP, 40% to exports, employing more than 12 crores of people. So automatically when MSME's transformation happens, it will be followed by the transformation of the country as a whole. For the MSMEs to transform, there are many areas and aspects of working. I will be focusing on in the field I belong to, that is the financial services industry. I represent Vast Financial Services Limited, which is into MSME funding since last 2.5 decades. And we have seen how this has evolved over a period of time. When I was witnessing this presentation on NACH, I think it touches our life on a daily basis, because I still remember that in early days, to get an outstation check cleared, it used to take 21 days for us. And we had to manage for the funds in such a manner that we are going to get the credit after 21 days. So this has evolved a lot. As a practitioner for more than 2 decades, I will start by what should MSMEs do in order to command credit and not just demand credit. It's high time where MSMEs command credit. We always talk about various schemes of the government, we always talk about availability of the funds to MSMEs. But let me share my views with all of you that there is no dearth of money for good assets. So as long as MSME raising the liability are the strongest asset on the balance sheet of the lenders, there will be no dearth of funds. So in order to command credit, there are a few things what I would suggest, starting from focusing on financial understanding, and to make it more simpler, financial literacy, maybe not on a very large scale, but at least related to your business. We have seen that we have a wonderful set of entrepreneurs across the country, but when it comes to financial understanding, either they outsource it, or they are not that focused under the guise that this is not my competences. My competences is just to do the business, which needs a drastic improvement. Each and every MSME entrepreneur need to focus on their financial understanding and literacy. This is the first point which I would like to make. The very second point is your capabilities and willingness to share the data. It's very important. Let me tell you that at all the levels of associations and at all the forum, we are represented by just 10 to 15% of the MSME existing in this country. We at MAS extend loans right from 50,000 to 5 crores. And I can very confidently tell that this message, or what is happening across the financial ecosystem, 85% of them are not aware of it. This is the major challenge. So the willingness to share the data and the capabilities to share the data. And at the same time, embracing technology, as it was a very nice presentation on how you can gradually embrace technology as an MSME organization. It does not necessarily mean that you have to do everything at one go. Even having a good website is also a first step towards digitization. Will help you a long way in connecting to the financial ecosystem. And last but not the least, a good track record. Let me tell you that all financial institutions are intermediary between the saver and the user. It is incumbent on all the financial institutions to safeguard the interest of the ones who have invested in the company or the ones who have lent to them. And that is where your track record plays a very important role for the continuous flow of credit to this sector. These are my humble suggestions for all the MSMEs. To the extent you can invite those, will make you eligible. Because as a practitioner, I always think that as an entrepreneur, you are doing a lot of things. And you are entitled for an efficient financial access. मैं यहाँ easy financial access नहीं बोलूँगा, क्योंकि जो भी एंटरप्रेन्योर बैठे हुए हैं उनको मालूम है कि easy कुछ नहीं होता है. And if we talk about easy, you start doubting it, and you should. So for an efficient financial access for your business, you need to prepare yourself whereby you command credit and you don't demand credit. And let me decode the word efficient for you. You should get money on time. You should get money reasonably. And last but not the least, you should get money honorably. That is very important. Because the biggest asset of an entrepreneur is his confidence. और जब आपको honorably पैसा भी मिलता है, then it will increase your confidence tremendously. On the current ecosystem in the financial services industry, we have financial institutions to name like SIDBI, NABARD and all. We have banks comprising of public sector banks, private banks, SFB, and in some part of the country, cooperative banks are also doing well. Followed by the sector where I belong to, the NBFCs. I will use this platform to convey that we as NBFCs has been in the forefront in extending credit to micro and small entrepreneurs, which is not backed by collateral. We specialize in extending collateral-free loans. We specialize in assessing the cash flow of the MSMEs and extending loans to you. And NBFCs have played a very important role, and the share is gaining day by day, and that has been very aptly recognized by the government also. Now, coming to the strategic importance of MSMEs, I think I must appreciate that government has done enough. While this is a task we worked upon, can't be worked out, they have done enough. I was discussing with one of my delegate friends down there, that what can government do more, that strategically that they have attached a priority sector tag to MSME. That means they are incentivizing all lenders to lend to MSMEs. And of late, they are giving guarantees also. So I think what a government should do, they have done. And now it is for the other players in the ecosystem to stand up to the occasion and work mutually in such a manner that we are catalysts, we as finance providers, as a capital and the credit providers, are catalysts to your growth, and we also grow along with you. When we talk about the significance of MSMEs, we have to talk about the challenges in the same vein. I shared with you one of the biggest challenges that we are yet to touch 85% of the MSMEs of the country for any meaningful transmission of the various schemes that exist in the ecosystem. The most important thing for MSMEs for transforming is enabling policies and regulations. I think I would have liked to represent that in presence of Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, that while UP has done a remarkable thing in rising in rank from 14th to 2nd, but still the to-do list is so long that any entrepreneur, if he wants to grow his business, should be incentivized in such a manner that the rules and regulations are enabling and are not such that there is no incentive to grow. I think all of you will agree that beyond a certain revenue or beyond a certain turnover, you would like to limit yourself because of the various rules and regulations that you attract. And this is no one-way traffic. Even MSMEs will have to change their approach, and at the same time, there should be ease of doing business in real terms. While numbers do matter, engaging that how the work is done at the ground level, but in real terms, the ease of doing business will take this MSME growth to a very farther extent. If we talk about the need of the sector I belong, that is NBFCs, as I shared with you, we are at the forefront in delivering collateral-free and cash flow-based models. And at FIDC, we are in constant touch with all the regulators, but still a lot has to be done there also in terms of according us the level playing field along with the banks. One of the striking example I give is that there are interest subvention on loans given by central government and the state government, and whereby MSME contributes significantly to such loans. But when it comes to borrowers availing loans from us, they are not accorded that interest subvention. We are representing at various appropriate levels, and we are hopeful that this will be recognized and the borrowers will not suffer. NBFC won't require interest subvention for themselves, but it is for their borrowers. So as requested, I would like to not much lengthen my speech. Otherwise, at any forum, I always like to share what we have done over the last 2.5 decades. But in conclusion and context, we have a huge potentiality in our MSME sector. And I heard a very nice saying, a very nice tagline at one of the forum I attended, that you can be at the forefront of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and to extend it, we have the potentiality of Bharat Par Nirbhar Vishwa. We also have that potentiality. So I'd like to end with this positive note. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving forward now, may I request Group Head Commercial and Rural Banking, HDFC Bank Limited, Shri Rahul Shukla, to please come forward and give your thoughts to our audience. Can we have a huge round of applause for Shri Rahul Shukla? Welcome, sir.
Hi, respected Shushma ji, Ravi ji, Ravina ji, Vene ji, Avinash, my elder brother, and sir, and all the participants. Today I am here to talk about this very important topic. We've been at the forefront in this area. So good morning. I think the energy in the crowd is already a bit low. काफी लंबा समय हो गया है. तो इसके साथ ही मैं ये कहता हूँ कि जय श्री राम और जय MSME. मेरे कहने का ये तात्पर्य है, इसका एक मतलब है, जैसे भगवान विष्णु पूरे ब्रह्मांड के परिरक्षक हैं और इसे संतुलन में रखते हैं, वैसे ही भारत में MSME रोजगार पैदा करके संतुलन बनाए रखते हैं और ये बहुत नेशनल इम्पोर्टेंस का काम करते हैं. राष्ट्रीय अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए MSME क्षेत्र का एक बहुत ही जोरदार महत्व है। भारत में लगभग 6.5 करोड़ MSME हैं, जो सुषमा जी ने बताया, जिनमें सूक्ष्म उद्यम वो करीब 99% हैं। 50% से अधिक ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में है। तो यदि हम इस पर विचार करें तो हमें कृषि और संबंधित गतिविधियां, एग्री एंड एलाइड एक्टिविटीज और MSME दोनों पर ध्यान देना होगा, क्योंकि ये दोनों क्षेत्र हैं जो 50% से अधिक GDP का हिस्सा है। अगर आप एक को करेंगे तो दूसरा छूट जाएगा, आपको वो रिजल्ट नहीं आएंगे, और दोनों को एक साथ आगे बढ़ाना है। तो इन टुडेज स्पीच I will talk about certain simple proposals which will expand credit extension to both of these sectors by at least about 25 lakh crore. Just to give you a perspective, at this point of time, the MSME credit in the formal banking system and NBFCs, together with what goes in the credit segment to the agricultural credit system, that is about 35 lakh crore. And we are trying to say that another 25 lakh crore of credit potential can be unleashed. So MSME और ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में ऋण के रूप में वित्तीय सहायता तेजी से शहरीकरण करेगा और समग्र विकास में मदद करेगा। उत्तर प्रदेश एक महत्वपूर्ण राज्य है और MSME की संख्या सब लोगों ने जैसे बताया यहाँ सबसे अधिक है। तो इस बारे में कुछ प्रस्ताव रखूंगा। नियमों में छोटे से बदलाव क्रेडिट को काफी बढ़ा सकते हैं। MSME क्षेत्र में ऋण की कुल मांग करीब 50 लाख करोड़ है। 50 लाख करोड़, 50 लाख करोड़ इज द क्रेडिट डिमांड इन MSME सेक्टर। औपचारिक बैंकिंग चैनल या फॉर्मल बैंकिंग सिस्टम के माध्यम से केवल 20 लाख करोड़ क्रेडिट एक्सटेंड होता है। 5 करोड़ MSME अनौपचारिक चैनलों से क्रेडिट को लेते हैं, वित्त पोषण करते हैं। ये साहूकारों से लेते हैं, 3 से 4% का ब्याज दर का ब्याज महीने में देते हैं, और जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा है। तो अगर इनको हम औपचारिक बैंकिंग प्रणाली में ले आ सकें तो क्या होगा? इन हमारे जो सूक्ष्म उद्यमी हैं, इनको मुनाफा ज़्यादा होगा, व्यापार का विस्तार करेंगे और इससे अधिक रोजगार करेंगे। तो मैं आपको एक बात बताना चाहता हूं कि अगर ये जैसे सूक्ष्म से लघु बने, माइक्रो एंटरप्राइज से स्मॉल एंटरप्राइज बने और केवल एक जॉब क्रिएट करें, तो उस एक जॉब में करीब 6.5 करोड़ रोजगार बढ़ सकता है। और इस 6.5 करोड़ की जो रोजगार बढ़ने से करीब 25 करोड़ लोगों के जीवन स्तर और खर्च करने की शक्ति को बढ़ाने में मदद करेगा। इसलिए इन संस्थाओं को औपचारिक बैंकिंग चैनलों में लाना बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। Now it is easy to say, how can we do it? Government has always encouraged banks towards lending to MSMEs, whether it is by providing guarantee, subsidies, subvention or schemes under Atmanirbhar Bharat announced during pandemic. I must tell you that ECLGS scheme announced for businesses saved, protected about 1.25 crore MSME entities during the pandemic. It was a huge success, and in my view, during pandemic, this is the world's #1 scheme, not only in India, across the world, which has provided genuine support to people who needed it. We have represented several ideas that will further help and support MSMEs in the country, and some of the examples are supporting the non-borrowing MSME. आज हमारे पास GST की डेटा है। GST डेटा के हिसाब से अगर 30% टर्नओवर MSME को, जो छोटी MSME है, जो फॉर्मल बैंकिंग सिस्टम से बाहर है, अगर उसमें ECLGS टाइप की गारंटी मिल जाए तो उससे ये सारे बैंकिंग प्रणाली में आ जाएंगे। ये 30 से 40% इंटरेस्ट नहीं देंगे, इनकी इंटरेस्ट की दर एकदम कम हो जाएगी। तो इसमें करीब जो 25-30% की इंटरेस्ट की कॉस्ट की कमी होगी, उससे उनको मुनाफा ज़्यादा आएगा और ये फॉर्मल बैंकिंग सिस्टम में आएंगे। दूसरा, CGTMSE स्कीम, as businesses have grown in step with the economy, coverage under the CGTMSE scheme from existing rupees 2 crores should be increased to 5 crores. That would support larger number of entities, providing fillip to job creation in the process. We have also requested to consider lowering of guarantee fee to make it more cost effective for micro and small enterprises. तीसरा, startup specific lending backed by government guarantee. We have to develop the business culture in the country with more and more entrepreneurs coming up and setting up their business with confidence. अब आप ये देखिए, आजकल अग्निवीरों के बारे में काफी चर्चा हो रही है। इससे अग्निवीरों को मदद मिलेगी, जो जब वापस आएंगे उनके पास प्रशिक्षण होगा, उनके पास अनुशासन होगा, उनके पास पूंजी होगी और अपना भविष्य खुद बनाने का दृढ़ संकल्प होगा। इस स्कीम से उन्हें बैंक से ऋण आसानी से प्राप्त होगा। An important part of transforming MSMEs is making them digitally active and efficient. There are many steps taken by government and RBI on this front, and I agree with my fellow panelists that like Aadhaar OTP authentication, eKYC, online account opening, account aggregator, TRED, OCEN, GST, MCA, etc., where data flow is very effective. So the industry is today moving towards cash flow lending from collateral lending, which is again going to provide a great fillip. HDFC Bank has recently formed the commercial and rural banking vertical. This is proof of our commitment, our confidence in this sector. As a bank, we are absolutely clear that we cannot grow without going deep in the semi-urban and rural segments, and which is where the majority of people live. Let me now touch upon rural financing. भारत अब बदल गया है। भारत में कृषि की जो अर्थव्यवस्था है वो अगर आप 40-50 साल पहले जाएं तो वो जीडीपी का 70% था और अब केवल वो करीब 15% है। लेकिन फिर भी आज 2/3 भारतीय ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में रहते हैं और इसलिए उद्योगीकरण ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में जहां वो रह रहे हैं ये बहुत जरूरी है। अगर 2-3 चीजें बदल जाती हैं तो करीब 10 लाख करोड़ ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में अधिक वित्तीय सहायता ऋण के रूप में पहुंच सकती है। इसमें 2 चीजें हैं, एक तो कृषि पीएसएल को रूरल पीएसएल बना दें, क्योंकि कृषि कम है 15% जीडीपी का, लेकिन लोग अभी भी रूरल क्षेत्र में रह रहे हैं। उन्हें क्या चाहिए? उन्हें केवल सोइंग के लिए क्रेडिट नहीं चाहिए, उन्हें कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल फाइनेंसिंग चाहिए, होम इंप्रूवमेंट फाइनेंसिंग चाहिए। इस तरह की कई सारी चीजें हैं। आज भी 70% रूरल जिले, इवन टुडे मैडम, about 70% of rural districts have a credit to deposit ratio of less than 10%. We have to unleash the power of credit to go into the rural districts. So 2 बदलाव का सुझाव रखता हूँ। ग्रामीण बाजारों में सभी ऋण ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के पीएसएल के अंतर्गत आने चाहिए। कृषि वित्त को ग्रामीण वित्त में देखना एक मानसिकता परिवर्तन है जिसकी तत्काल आवश्यकता है। दूसरा मैं ये कहूँगा, जैसे क्षेत्र है हमारे देश में, कुछ पूर्वांचल है, बिहार है, मध्य प्रदेश है, जम्मू और कश्मीर है, वहाँ जो भी एमएसएमई है वो कृषि से जुड़े हुए हैं। इन सब जगहों में जितनी भी ऋण जाती है उसको सबको रूरल पीएसएल या पीएसएल का दर्जा देना चाहिए, उससे ऑटोमेटिकली क्रेडिट एक्सपेंशन होगा। In the end, in closing, I must say that India is developing with greater confidence and ever greater speed today. Next few years will bring a lot of changes, new avenues of balanced socio-economic growth, improvement of livelihoods. My suggestions will cause a shift of banks' balance sheets to mirror the composition of our GDP. Banks cannot, remain today just urban and metro focused. This is good for the economic growth of the country, for our people and for banks. Programs advocated by the government focused on sustainability, environment and development for all have built a strong base to leap from. And that makes us hopeful that India by the end of the decade should be very close or touching the $10 trillion economy. Thank you.